Hey guys, welcome to In Our Prime.
Mm-hmm.
I am your co-host Priscilla Loomis, 2016 Olympian, motivational speaker, and radio morning show host, amongst other things, joined by my fabulous husband, Ken Loomis.
0-time Olympian, just normal talker, speaker. Listen to the radio.
All right, guys, welcome to In Our Prime. It's a show discussing adulthood and all the adventures you take along the way to becoming an adult.
Yeah.
And so we're moving right along with
Moving and
our
grooving.
with our show. I think it's going pretty well. We have had some very phenomenal guests, but today's guest is Mechelle Freeman, and
Mechelle.
that conversation was great. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It was very eye-opening and exciting because of the initiative that she's about to put forth.
Yeah,
so
it's a cool path she's starting to lay down.
But as you guys know,
Mechelle.
our first topic is always something about in our marriage, in our prime, and it's one that I think a lot of couples not argue about, but definitely have different agreements about, and it's about hobbies, and it's about having hobbies together and separately.
Yes.
I think that it's important and healthy for couples to have hobbies together and separately.
Yes, 100%.
I think so. So
what's the line? 50-50, 80-20?
I don't know.
90-10?
Because like my hobby is my sport. I train. It's something separate from you, even though sometimes I like for you to be there at practice so you can see what I'm doing. You help me film and you can see what I do. You can understand why I'm exhausted every day.
Yes.
So that's my hobby. My job is a radio show host, separate. This podcast, together.
Yes. This is a together hobby.
Yes. And I think it's a good one. I think it's healthy.
It's going well so far.
And so tell me about your hobbies.
I coach. That's my main hobby.
Okay. But it's a job. You get paid for it.
That's true. But I also like it.
Yeah.
It's not a job that I hate.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I'm got to dig a ditch.
Well, track and field I get paid for too. So I guess
yeah.
All right. Same thing.
But I also bartend. I work a lot.
You do.
I was just raised with a work ethic and busy. That's been my mom. That's been my dad.
It's one of the things that my boss said today. He was like, you remember you're a wife. You can't be too busy. And I was like, this is what we do. Like, this is how we.
And for the visual audience or the audio audience, that was a joke. And she's giving me the angry eyes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So for that part, we do work a lot. And we like to work a lot.
Yeah.
We like to grind and save money.
I don't do well doing nothing.
Yeah, that's
Besides
true.
when we sit down and watch a TV show or watch a movie, I can't just sit and do nothing unless I'm just absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
But if I have time and I have energy. I want to do something with it. And if I'm going to do something, I might as well get paid to do it. Why do something for free?
That's true.
So I guess pick up another shift, bartending. Hey, here's $250. Cool.
I have a question.
Good.
Did any of your exes get upset about you playing video games?
No, but after college, I didn't go steady or seriously date people.
Okay.
I was single for a while. I was a bachelor. Okay. Yeah, however you want to put it. So there wasn't often times where a woman was at the house consistently like, oh, you're playing PlayStation or Xbox again.
Okay.
So no.
Okay.
But that's almost like a not applicable stat because it just didn't really apply.
Well, now that we are married and you play, it doesn't bother me.
Good, because that's one of my escapes / hobbies I like to do to relax. So if you were to be like, I don't like that you do that, you'd be taking away one of the few joyful things that I do to relax.
And I think it's healthy that you know, have an outlet of something like video games. And now if
Yes.
you did it too much and you like ignored me and you didn't get anything done because of the games, I think that's what I would get upset about. And I'd be like, you need a new hobby.
Correct. I guess. Yes.
Yeah. But again,
Unless I was one of these gamer guys pulling in like 10 mil a year,
you
because
do
this
you,
is
boo boo.
insane.
I will bring you your
How
beer on the
much? Yeah,
side.
right.
I will massage
And my
your neck.
nachos.
I will do it. I'll
Feed
cook
me.
you. Yes,
Would you
I
feed
would
me?
feed you.
Nacho.
Yep, I'd feed you. Whatever,
Cool.
however you want it to
Yeah,
be
for
fed.
10 mil a year.
Yep.
Yes, there's not much.
Yep.
Because that would be like,
I'll do
babe,
that.
like 10 mil. Like,
But
see this house?
the problem with, I think, gaming is that you have to put a lot of time sitting still staring at a screen. You need
Yes.
exercise. You've got
Everyone needs exercise.
That's
Yes.
what I'm saying. So I don't think, I mean, a lot of the gamers I know that you have to spend like 8 to 9 hours a day
It's more than
putting
that.
in. I'm just saying bare
Think about it.
minimum.
If you all the
Honey, I know. I'm
effort you
just
put in
saying.
for your Olympic training,
You're absolutely right.
if you
But
did that on video
I'm
games.
just saying it's important to be active.
Yes, it is.
That's all I'm saying.
100%.
I do think that one of our shared hobbies is doing things. We like doing things. We like going
Yes.
out. We like together. It's not like
I wouldn't have married you if I didn't want to go out and be with you.
Oh, that's
As
nice.
Blunt as that sounds, like, why would I marry
like
you
your
if I'm like,
bluntness.
oh, you know what? I don't want to be near her, so I'm just going to go to a bar with the guys tonight.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted you in my life for a
understand
reason.
that, though. I feel like sometimes.
No, don't get me wrong. I love going out with the boys, especially because of COVID. I haven't seen them in a year. Like, we did virtual poker
Yeah,
a little bit
but you're not
on a Google group
really.
chat. But if they're like, hey, like, well, I want to go grab a beer tonight, like, yeah, that'd be cool. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
I think, yeah, because of COVID. But before
Yeah.
that, you weren't like a bro night kind of person.
Yeah, but
You were like, oh, I kind of want you to come. And I'm a bro, guys.
You're a bro.
If you don't know this, as much as I am, my nickname is Diva and I am high maintenance, as people like to call me. I am very chill. I'm a bro. I like my beer and I like to chill.
yeah, we could just, I mean, the prime or highlight of our weekends is usually going to a bar with a bunch of 60-year-olds playing Name That Tune and never winning because we're in our 30s and the music is like, oh, here's this one-hit wonder from 1972. I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Would you be okay if I was a gamer? Like if I liked playing video games with you?
Yeah, that is probably one of the hottest things ever.
I
think every guy would love if their girl would get on the sticks.
But I feel like then you won't have your own hobby. You won't be able, like, it's now it's a shared hobby.
Could team up and start shooting people in Call of Duty, or you get on the Chell or Madden and we start dominating, that would be cool.
So it wouldn't be an annoyance to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Good to know.
That'd be awesome. I think every guy would be like, if you played and could play well, and you were just like, oh, sweetie, let me play.
Like
pew,
Bernadette?
pew, 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 pew. And just like,
get that guy,
if you were ruining the game, yep. But if you were like good at the game and like, wow, join a squad, yeah.
Okay.
Let's drop in.
So I think it's safe to say that we both agree that we can have separate hobbies, and because football's your thing, even though I love football, I love college football, but it's like, I think it's also healthy that we both work in very, very different careers.
What do you mean?
I think it's healthy that I'm an athlete and I do radio and you're a teacher and you do football. We don't cross over. We don't work too much together.
Yeah, I think there is the overkill in relationships where they're with each other 24/7. Sometimes you need a little space, a little separation, a little every now and then.
I think that's the thing that killed my past relationship.
Yes, I did too, maybe. Yeah, you guys were always together.
Always
so
together.
Over the weekend when you were watching your movie that I had zero interest in, absolutely none.
So upset, guys.
None. Yeah, no, zero desire. I was like, all right, I'm going to go in the room, play a little PlayStation for 2-3 hours while you're watching your movie. A little separation. I get to relax. You get to watch your movie. It was cool. I liked it.
I know.
Except I lost twice and I was pissed. Ruined my perfect season.
We're done. This episode of In Our Prime is brought to you by A Bond Wine, a locally owned wine company that prides itself on bringing an authentic and quality product to its customers in every bottle. Visit abondwines.com and support a brand we here at In Our Prime love so much. Tell them Priscilla and Ken sent you. We don't really talk about very serious issues.
Every now and then we do.
Okay. Really?
I think so. I think we had what's this, episode 6?
Yeah.
So maybe 1 or 2. Yeah.
Okay. And tonight is one of those instances where it's so prevalent that we can't ignore it anymore. And it's
which, by the way, is what gets said every time. Like, oh, it's such a shame. We need change. We can't be silent any longer. And then it says that again, and we say it again, and we say it again.
I think that the people who are in charge of making these laws are in it for themselves.
They're in it for the money. Money
is themselves
in our government. Yes. Because we don't have laws. We actually remove the laws on spending and donations and everything like that.
So the issue at hand is gun control in the US.
Correct.
And for me, again, let me preface this by saying we spoke about the LGBTQ community on the morning radio show that I co-host.
The Coast.
Yeah, 97 The Coast. And it is something that people started attacking myself and my co-host because we weren't 2,000,000% knowledgeable about the subject. And I have to preface this with saying, hey, I don't know everything. I don't know all the laws. I don't know all the history. I'm learning, and where I'm at, this is where I stand. Please don't attack us for saying our opinion. Ken is the history man. I love having conversations with him because he's factual. A lot of it is really not his opinion. It's what needs to be done, even though it probably won't happen. Because again, it's all about money. So for me, gun control is never going to have a easy win situation. There's going to be no decision because people are either very for guns or very against it. It's like Democratic and Republican.
Most people believe that you should be allowed to own a gun.
Yes.
But the registration background check process should also be stricter. Like, that's where I believe 80% of Americans fall in. That, you should be allowed to have a handgun for protection, a rifle or shotgun to go hunting.
I don't know if that's most people. Some people are like no guns whatsoever because they compare it to other countries who don't have guns.
You're right.
And they have like,
we are also a very
stabbings.
Big hunting country. We are a top 5 in size country in the world. Like, people in France or in Germany, it's such a small country. It's hard for them to hunt.
I'm just saying, this is what people compare it to.
Yep. So it's a lot of people, I believe, feel have your guns, but there should be a better background check.
How do you get a gun?
Depends on where you're at. When I went to school in Pennsylvania, I could literally go to the Walmart right off campus, apply for a gun, and 20 minutes later, get one.
It's crazy because in New York, we went to the Walmart. We got like 6 machetes.
Yeah.
I just kept one in my trunk just in case.
You never know.
But it's one of those things where I didn't know that it was that. But what's it in New Jersey?
I don't know that off the top of my head. But I know there are
states in the South that are very easy to get a gun.
And it's not just the states. There's a lot of the technology is not up to date, whether it's like the FBI not updating the red flag list, or it's just like open, they call it like trunk shows where you just go to like a county fair and be like, oh, I'll buy that gun for $500. Sure. Like you can do that in certain places and you'll know who you're selling that gun to, not to mention the whole black market, which is
of course.
Yeah. But I'm talking about legal gun ownership.
Gotcha.
It doesn't make sense that you have to take a class and a practice test to get a driver's license, but not for a gun. Like you don't have to pass a test to shoot a gun, to own a gun, as long as your background check is fine. So you could be the worst shot in the world, but they'll still give you a gun. You don't have to pass that test.
Okay.
You have to pass a test to drive. You need to know the laws, the rules, show.
You need a test for to pour a drink.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to bartending school.
You could go with a clean background and say, hey, I want a gun. Okay, Sure. It's
Yeah,
just
there needs to
too
be
easy. And again,
there needs to be
I'm not,
classes.
and I don't think most people, it's very few that want just take all the guns. Um, it's kind of in our DNA. We need guns. That's the
Mhm.
whole Revolutionary War. The average citizen grabbed their gun and overthrew the big, powerful British military. So that's why the Second Amendment is there. But the Second Amendment is for a revolutionary cause. And that's something when people claim, hey, Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms. No, it doesn't. It says in order to form a well-regulated militia, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. So you can own a gun in case this new government we're
Yes,
creating
takes over.
sucks and he becomes a king, we can overthrow him back in the 1780s. Now in the 2020s, either we should have the same access to weaponry as our military to be even, like it was in the 1780s, 1790s, or not at all. But there's certain guns that are legal or certain hands people get their hands on, and it's I'm reading today because it just came out.
Yeah.
In 2020, 499 people were killed as a result of gun violence in Philly, 40% increase from 2019. And they're currently on pace to surpass 600 shooting deaths for the year 2021.
I have a question.
Yes.
Were any of those police officers
That were shot?
No, that did the shooting.
I don't think that
That's
takes into account.
Okay.
No. But that's just Philly. Chicago's been in the news for years about it, the gun violence, and it's widespread. It's something that our country needs to get a grip on.
And I think
because
that's
we won't.
What
Because
what is it? What do you mean get a grip on it? Is it like is it making it illegal? Is it making it courses? Is it taking them off the guns off the street? Like
well,
what
you
needs to be
definitely
done?
need and should have courses. Like in Europe, I forget what country it is. Might have been like Denmark, maybe even Switzerland, where they're declared neutrality. They have like a gun shooting competition every year where they're drinking. Now you have kids in their 20s who are drinking beer, shooting guns, and nothing happens. No violence, no accidental deaths, nothing. But because they take safety courses and they take training courses, and they just like, okay, I'm a teacher and I need 30 hours of professional development a year. If you own a gun, you should have to have 25, 30 hours of training a year, storage, cleaning, all that stuff. Because some of these are accidental 4-year-old, gets his hands on a gun.
Yeah, one of the
now
articles
rare,
that we read was this woman sent her kid to go get a gun from the car and shot his little sister.
Yep.
Killed her.
So that's absolutely horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah. So there needs to be just better background checks, better security. I don't think too many people are like wants to do in Australia where they just buy the guns back and they just go into every house in the country and say, okay, you have 5 guns, each worth $1,000. Here's a check for $5,000. Give me all your guns. Thank you. Okay. And they buy them back. I don't think many people are saying they want that to happen, but
in a sense, I'm just like
too many people are getting guns too easily.
I feel like there's got to be something very radical that happens because everyone's like, when will it stop? When will enough be enough?
What's the next radical to happen after the Las Vegas shooting?
No, I'm talking about
radical one.
No, I'm talking about radical as in we take all the guns. Like I feel like that's the only way to make it happen. Like you have to enforce a law that says something, say something, make something official. Because now they're like something needs to get done. Well, what is the solution? Because half these people have the gun already.
Yes.
So
and 99% of gun owners are responsible, law-abiding, gun-owning citizens, and they do nothing wrong. They have their gun for hunting or target practice or protection, and they are great citizens, and they treat their gun with the respect that weapon needs.
Yeah.
But you can't have a driver's license if you're prone to seizures. Yes. Why? Because you put people at risk.
Yes.
There needs to be better safety guards for people when they purchase guns legally.
Now, is the gun community okay with that or no? That's what it
the
is.
NRA, the top dog.
There it is, NRA. Thank you. Sorry, this is a community I'm not very well
just like
Oprah.
In. You get a gun and you get a gun. Everybody gets a gun.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I think it's something, for me, especially, I see so much gun violence with police officers who are trained we just read an article that the police officer reached for the wrong thing and
he
shot
meant to
and
grab
killed
the
somebody.
taser
I think it
and
was a
grab the handgun
she.
instead.
I think it was a she.
It's actually happened in Minnesota, 10 miles from the George Floyd.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you
instance.
accidentally reach for the wrong thing? You're trained. This is
Yes.
hours of training, and you reach for the wrong thing when it's somebody's life.
I'll tase you, tase you, tase you, tase you. The officer is heard shouting through her body cam. After firing a single shot from her gun, the car speeds away, and the officers heard saying, "Holy bleep, I shot him." Like, I know people that are cops, but I don't know how you confuse a taser with a gun.
I
Why?
guess
If they're shaped the same, why?
I don't.
If they're not shaped the same, how did she confuse the two?
Yeah, I don't. It's one of the things that I think we should have an ongoing discussion about, because I think there's no. So you think that they're just people who receive guns need training?
You should have to pass a test,
okay,
in order to get one. Not only just a background check, but a physical gun.
But I think there also
responsibility
I think there needs
course.
to be like a mental health as well.
Well, that's part of the background check.
Okay.
But because mental health is so stigmatized still, and mental health has come to the forefront immensely in the last 10 years, but because mental health is still shunned, frowned upon, that's something we don't talk about, we don't address. A lot of people who have a mental health issue get their hands on guns, and then an event happens, and like, oh, well, he struggled with mental health, but it's not documented because they don't go see a counselor, or they don't speak up about their own mental health, because you get shunned and you get shamed.
I just think
because you have a mental health.
I think it should be mandatory once a year, just a little checkup. Just
like eval?
Just check up. Yep. Real quick. Make sure everything's good. Make sure everything's.
Well, now you're getting into socializing medicine and this other stuff. Because if you're going to make me go to the doctor, you best be paying. Why do I have to pay it out of my pocket? So now you're talking about government paid medicine and
just
universal health.
Exactly.
And it just goes on and on and on.
Going on and on. Oh, Lord.
Stay tuned.
All right, guys. Welcome back to In Our Prime. We are very, very excited and humbled to be with our next guest. It's somebody that I don't know personally, but I'm glad that I slid in her DMs and she said yes. So it's Mechelle, right?
Yeah, well, technically it's Mechelle, but no one calls me that.
Gotcha.
I like Mechelle.
I like Mechelle too. And the thing is, I always get worried that if I say it incorrectly or like the way that I'm thinking, they're going to be like, where'd you get that from? And I'm like, I'm really sorry.
No.
To be fancy.
It's fine. No. 1% of the population calls me Mechelle. So
okay. Well, I want to come correct. You know this. I want to come correct.
1.1.
Yes. Now we got it. Mechelle Freeman is a track and field Olympian, because we come correct on this show. She is the USA Relays coach. She's a speed run specialist, and I think speed/run. Do you know what that is, Henny?
No.
Didn't you do football?
Yeah, but I wasn't known for my speed/running.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I feel it's such a, it's such a shame, because football players can benefit so much from track and field.
Yeah, same time as baseball.
Yeah.
Same season, spring.
Oh, it's such a shame.
They talk about that all the time. It's a lot of tweets out right now that's talking about if you're playing football in the off season, run track.
Yep.
It's so many things, from biomechanics, understanding how to move your body, understanding how to apply force, make you more explosive, but so many things that can help any athlete once you know how to run.
Yes. I don't understand why. I'm going to read you this whole intro because I want to come correct, but I don't know why more people don't trust track and field coaches to teach their athletes speed.
Exactly.
It is like, I'm sorry, if I'm trying to throw a ball, I'm not going to go ask the ice cream man down the street. I'm going to go to the person that is a specialist. I don't understand that. And for some reason, football does it a lot.
Yeah. I think football and track correlate a lot. It's just
so what are the coaches that but why I don't understand why though. They're two different seasons.
They are, but a lot of football coaches, it's 12 months a year. So their spring ball, their spring practice.
But most coaches look for athletes who do 2 sports.
Oh yeah, sometimes 3 sports. But your
I'm just
your
making
sprinters
sense.
and your runners are your skill guys, but you also need your linemen. So your throwers wouldn't benefit as much throwing as they would.
I think they would.
As they would like wrestling.
Yes.
For football.
Wrestling?
Wrestling is hugely helpful for football.
Oh no! Well, hold on. If you're a thrower or if you're a lineman, you got to get off that line quick. You gotta, be explosive, powerful. Like Mechelle Carter was my training partner at one point. We were doing 150s together.
I love her.
No, Mechelle Carter. Yeah, she's an Olympic gold medalist in the shot put.
Yes.
So yeah, throwers run fast. Too.
When she dropped into that, we were on the same New York Athletic Club team together.
Oh, yeah.
She dropped into that split. I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me? What? Yeah. Your flexibility is on 1,000. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to start this over. Okay. Julian, I want you to keep that all in. Post afterwards. I'm talking to my editor here. Yeah. Poor boy. I give him so much to deal with. This poor boy's like, oh my God, Auntie, you killing me. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. I'm very, very excited and humbled to welcome my next guest, Mechelle, right? Mechelle. Oh, yes. Mechelle Freeman. Yeah. She is a track and field Olympian. We in the squad together now. Oh, yeah. She is the USA Relays coach. She specializes in speed and running. Yes. I'm looking at my husband because he knows I'm all about speed. She's a high performance coach. She's a Lululemon ambassador. So we definitely are going to get into that. And she is the CEO and founder of Track Girls. Yeah. And we're going to get obviously into that. So I want to just welcome Mechelle Freeman.
Thank you.
Clap it up. I do need to make sure that Julian adds some clapping emoji. Yeah, I had it on the Instagram show and it was dope. People were like, ooh. And I was like,
it makes a difference.
It does. It absolutely does. So hopefully we'll add it for this one just for you. We'll just add it. I'll pay him extra. Just be like, get that clap, get that audience. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. We are so excited to have you and get to have this conversation. I feel like a lot of times when people create something of substance, we only look at the product and not the person behind it. And so that's why I was super excited to bring you on and make sure that we heard your story and we understand your point of view. So my first question is, how has 2021 been for you?
Oh my God. Well, 2021, it's been a mix, I would say, because coming off a year like 2020, you think like you can only go up from there. Mm-hmm. But personally, my dad, he's going through, battling cancer right now.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. So, personally, it's been some, hard days, facing news like that. From a business perspective, it's been opportunity after opportunity. Track Girls is really growing right now and building the mission that I set out to achieve, 5 years ago is really coming to fruition, and I can touch it and feel it now. And
that's incredible.
That's incredible. And, last year we didn't have a track season. And so as the national team's assistant relay coach, I had plans of traveling the world, Tokyo and things like that. So, this year we're starting to have some track meets and things like that. But we just found out that we're not sending a USA team to World Relays. So, really? That news is about to drop this week. Y'all just got the insight. But yeah, it's it's been fluctuating. It's been good things, bad things, but it's so far, I just been taking it in stride.
Gotcha. What did you say?
Did they say how come they're not sending a team?
Yes, because of COVID, of course. Poland is still at a level 4 of entry, and it's been going between 3 and 4, and so the USA, just the federation as a whole, just wants to make sure we send in our athletes into the trials, into the best opportunity that they can be, be put in and be ready to at least compete at Tokyo finally.
Yeah. Because I know that, was it Korea that said that
North Korea
always just pulled out of the Olympics?
An asterisk.
And so that was just, well, you got to understand, honey, like it's still a shock when you pull a country out of the Olympics.
I get that, but it's North Korea. Like the stuff that comes out of there is unique.
I get it. And so obviously I want to talk about Track Girls. Tell us about this mission and what you set out to do with this ministry, as you call it.
Yeah, my ministry. Well, my background's in marketing. I would like to say I grew up through the advertising agency background and managing global accounts. And, one day I after retiring from sport and realizing that it had to be a way where I could combine something that I'm, one of the best at in the world. That even though I was done competing, that didn't mean I was done, breathing life into that gift. And so I decided to quit my marketing job and to combine my strengths of marketing and branding with sport, and particularly track and field, and breathing life into a community that already existed. I've been called a track girl since I was 14. The track girls have a certain aura about them,
Yes, certain swagger.
Certain swagger about them, a presence. And so I just wanted to bottle that up and make it a little bit more tangible and give opportunity, a consistent platform to tell these amazing women's stories. And I remember I was working at a marketing agency and they didn't have any track and field athletes on their roster. And I was like, well, why not? And he said, because they're not relevant besides Olympic years. And I'm thinking about how much I'm surrounded by so many dope women, talented, beautiful, smart, influential, role models. And I'm like, it's no way you can't tell me you can't sell, what these track girls offer.
It's such a shame. And now that you say that, it's tell me the same thing that it's.
No, it's 100% right. I just saw something this morning on Katie Ledecky, swimmer, female. She's insane.
Yeah.
First time I've heard her name in probably 2.5, 3 years. Now she lapped people in the pool.
Yeah.
But haven't heard her name in 2.5, 3 years because she's a swimmer.
It's such a shame. And it's one of the things that
and she's the best.
I get so upset because people always come and they're like, well, why don't you market yourself differently? Have you gone online? Have you done this? Have you done this? And I said, I'm sorry. Is being an Olympic athlete not enough? Is that not enough? I'm sorry. I know I had to have 6 jobs in order to prove my worth when I work so hard for who I am and my name. So it is something that I've spoken about it. I did a piece with CNN, and it's true. People get so shocked and a little upset when I'm like, yes, because we're dark skinned, we aren't as marketable as other people. Because we're track and field athletes, we're not as marketable. Like that's all bull, because the person at the top who's pulling the strings can put any one of us and a group of us in front and people would watch us. So I hate that excuse of we're not marketable.
I mean, it was such an excuse. I mean, in advertising, I would see so many different models hired to do running spots and so many images I would see of someone coming out the blocks, and it would be so incorrect.
Wrong, right? Just wrong.
And I'm just like, there are opportunities. And so with Track Girls, my vision has always been to have that platform to tell these stories, to showcase these talents, to create programs where we can use their influence and help inspire the future generation of upcoming girls in different areas, not just in sport, but in life, and ways that track and field is a platform for girls to grow personally, athletically, and the social opportunities that you gain from the community that you gain through track and field. And so that's what Track Girls has been about since the start. And so we continue to be that breath for women in the sport.
I love it. I love
really
that you
cool.
created it. You were the change that you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And that is something that I preach all the time. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's great. And I pray that I become more famous outside of track so that I can be in those meetings where I'm like, nah, boo boo. I'm going to talk to Mechelle. I'm going to bring her in and we're going to get the casting done.
Yes, and you need women to like. Sonia said this before, but when you see yourself, then you can like see yourself.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
Like, and so like if when you're in that position to be able to pull that person up, that next person wouldn't see
Yes.
value, then you're able to pull that person up. And so that's, yes, we do need women in the sport to be able to be at the tables at the highest level, to be able to recognize and be a voice for the other women that are not being seen.
Oh, absolutely. I just did an interview with Natasha Hastings and our publicist, and she said it. She was just like, we need to be in the meetings. We need to be the CEOs. We need to be the people who are signing the checks. Like, we have to be that in that position. And I think a lot of times, if we don't see it, we don't know that we can be there. So that representation matters. And so that's something that even right now I deal with all the time. People are like, oh, you're doing too much. You're too busy. You know, you need to calm down. I was like, I'll calm down when my name is on the company CEO list and I'm signing the checks and I'm hiring people. Like, don't tell me when to calm down, because nobody of color or female color is in these positions yet. So once we are, that's when you can say something to me. And honestly, at that time, you're fired, because nobody's speaking to me like that.
Out of bounds. Like, they can't tell you, what you're doing too much.
And I love that. For some reason, it's interesting that we all come together and can have these conversations, and we all just want to help each other out. We all are like, I'm going to put you on. I'm going to help you. It's always like we're leading out our hand and we're saying, let me help you. Let me pull you up. And maybe if you need to go a little bit higher, then I'll grab onto you. And like, we're always just trying to help each other. So I do love that now track has become that. Now track and field, especially track girls, we are trying to we are doing better. That's like our goal, whether it be on the track or off the track. We are just trying to do better. And I love it. I love to see it. And I thank you for being that example and that perfect leader in this mission. I'm all about it. I'm sorry, honey. Go
yes.
ahead.
So that's definitely a great change for the sport of track and field. Is that the change that needs to happen? Or is there something in your mind that's more urgent of a change for track and field?
Well, I mean, thinking back to the 5 years ago, I was a Nike athlete at the time, and John Capriati was the head of Nike Global Running, and he had a meeting with the athletes, and he said that we were just talking about the issue between the shoe companies and athletes feeling undervalued, and he just gave it to us straight, and he was like, "Look, y'all don't sell shoes for Nike. Like, no one is buying running shoes for Mechelle. No one's buying running shoes for, let's say, Priscilla. No one. You're not helping me sell a shoe." Okay. And I was like, okay, so we're talking bottom line numbers here. And I was like, well, that doesn't mean that can't be the case. And so it was a couple things to your question. One, the visibility of our sport as a whole, right? And so when you have a lack of visibility of the sport, then of course you're not seeing us. We don't have a consistent platform for you to understand us, for us to become household names. So one, that's a part of it, right? But two, when your partner doesn't look at your value as in helping them, their bottom line, they're just doing this because, out of the goodness of my heart, I just love running, I'm just going to give y'all some money. Then it's an unbalance in like the value exchange. And so I felt like it was a very necessary opportunity to showcase the value that it wasn't being seen from our side. And so I wanted to, at the same time, do as much as I could in that space, hoping that, as the visibility of our sport grows, that I'm ready to be able to be here and have this platform develop when the customers are like ready to digest our sport. And as the sport has been growing, and as this past year, like with the pandemic having forced us to be like, oh, athletes can't travel, so we have to create a domestic circuit, and we have to talk about track and field in the US more, and show it more. Now they were like paying attention to track and field a little bit more this past year and needed more content to tell and things like that. And so since I have been doing this for a while, it was an opportunity that I was just ready for it. And so I've started to see like the growth come with Track Girls from just being ready to be like, yes, I'm ready with the content. I'm ready with the stories. I'm ready with the programs to help girls get involved in track and field. So yeah, I think it's a two-way thing. One, as the visibility of our sport grows, which I don't have direct impact on, but I just want to be ready for that as our sport is growing, that we can show how we have value to add to bottom lines. Like, track and field. And one thing I'll say too is that, track girls, we've been in athleisure. We've been wearing tights every day. We've been wearing sports bras every day. We've been doing athleisure before athleisure was a thing. And so I'm like, if we can come up with ways like Track Girls that can showcase, get into the apparel and get into like the households of just influencing everyday runners, then once I'm still working on that. But my point is that we can come into impacting the visibility of the sport as well. We can come into impacting the bottom line of our partners. But it's all working together. And I feel like, as it all comes together, it's working simultaneously.
I think it's really, I think it's true, because sneakers is always like this bottom line. It's a business, right? Everything is about sneakers. And I'm like, but if you think about it, all these commercials and everything, they're all for like the outfit. It's all about how you look. Not many of them are just solely focused just on the sneaker. It's not like Corona, where you can just put a Corona in front and be like, there it is. That's our whole pitch. They don't just put a shoe down and they're just like, yep, the shoe has to do something. And it's the person inside the shoe that's making the shoe do all these incredible things. If you don't
you gotta tell the stories, right?
Exactly. And most of the time, track girl bodies is goals. It's #goals. Okay. So for me, that's why I'm just like, come on, man. Don't tell me that there's no marketability. Like, track girl bodies is where it's at.
And that's my point. Like, you don't have to use models for running shoes. You can use track girls. If you want to help track girls or men influence your bottom line, use them in the running ad.
Yes.
Which I've started to see more of over the
last.
Not
just Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt ain't the only person running track out here.
No, but tell the stories of the people wearing the shoes. Tell the stories of the fastest people in the world. You don't only have to wait till Olympic year to share these stories, but what are these ways that you can show how we impact bottom line by our everyday lifestyles?
And the only way that we can impact is if we are in those meetings, if we're making those decisions. So we have to rise in order for us to be able to say, you don't need models, you need athletes. You need people in the gym, correct technique. I got so upset when they did a ballet campaign without ballerinas.
It doesn't make sense.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I've seen multiple TV shows and movies of actors playing football, and you're just like, really? That's how you're throwing as a quarterback?
That's how they're throwing.
And you know what's crazy? This is why I love Marvel and Pixar. Pixar does the work. Marvel does the work. Wonder Woman, that's DC, but Wonder Woman, they used all athletes, CrossFit athletes. They were like, we can't fake this. We need to use CrossFit athletes. So they did. That's why if you ever watch Wonder Woman, she's the main character is the only one that looks super different than everybody else. Everybody else be out there. They're running. Like they
really running.
And Gal Gadot's like,
right. Really running.
So that's the thing. Like, we have value. It's just somebody in the top needs to say, okay, we got to stop this.
So how do you get to that guy at the top or that girl at the top?
We have to work our way up. That's the only way to do it.
How do you work?
What do you
That's
mean?
why I
You
created
said you got to work your
track
way up. How do you work that way up?
So
You got to create it yourself and show it. And like,
And
like
that's-
this past year, they started to see, you know, like as we've been growing, it's just that people were like, oh yeah, you're right. This does make sense. Or like Bozoma St. John, she's the CMO of Netflix. She was a track girl in high school. So it's not just talking about the women that are active in the sport or the girls that are coming through the sport, but, you know, given a context of the people who were involved in the sport that are doing other things. And so, you know, you can cross over audiences by pulling in people like Miss USA, who's a track girl, or Bozoma St. John, who's a track girl. J-Lo's a track girl.
Yeah.
You know, it's so many people who are track girls. So that's one of our strategies.
And everybody runs track. Everybody runs track.
Right? It's been so easy, like to find track girls. Once since I've started, I'm like, everyone's. Let me just find a track picture. Let me do some research. I know you ran track.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's like that's always the big thing. Like I ran track in high school. Like everybody did. Like everybody has to.
You're a track girl.
Yes, everybody's a track girl. I do want to get into a little bit more of your personal life because, as we've said, track and field doesn't pay you huge amounts of money where you can just live off life and be great and good to go as other athletes. And so you obviously started Track Girls. You are a mother and you are a Lululemon ambassador. You're a coach. How do you balance all of this? Because this is a lot. This is a lot to put on somebody's plate, and you're doing it so eloquently and you're doing it with such passion and positivity. So how are you able to balance all of this?
Man, you know, just staying true to what's placed on you as far as, you know, like purpose, and understanding that, really understanding when something is placed on you that is your duty to carry it out, and is placed on you, meaning that you were gifted this for you to carry it through. That means that you're capable of it. And so just knowing that that's the case, if God blessed me with this vision, that means that I'm capable of carrying it through, right? And if God blessed me with the role of being a mother, that means I'm capable of carrying that through. And then that goes on for being a wife and having an opportunity to coach, you know, some of the top athletes in the world as a relays coach. So anything that you feel is placed on you as a part of your purpose, as a part of the meaning of who you are, your core values, what drives you, then that allows me to, you know, understand what I'm supposed to be doing and when I say no. And so whenever that aligns to my purpose and my core values and those things that drive me from the core, then I realize that, you know, nothing's going to be placed on me that I can't bear. That's meant for me. And so I figure it out. You know, it's all about, you know, daily prioritizing, you know, the day. Like some days work is more, some days the kids have more, some days my husband gets some attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it all comes down to like looking at your day and just kind of like shifting how to make things work. Some days will be more, some days will be less, where you're putting your energy towards. But as you move through it, I like to say God, the universe, law of attraction, once you're moving in that space, then everything works to kind of support you along the way. But you just got to figure out how to prioritize which area of focus that you're doing from minute to minute.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's true. It is minute to minute.
Yes, from literally minute to a minute.
Because everything changes. Everything changes in a hot second. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
you're up, baby.
All right, so you coach and you're pretty darn good at it from everything I researched. I mean, you got a couple Hall of Fames there, some college championships, you know, Olympics, you know, pretty good resume.
It's a pretty good resume.
So besides the talent, what do you look for in your athletes? Obviously, they can't be some tub of lard that can't run, right? You got to have some skills. You got to be able to move.
Tub of lard, honey.
But,
tub of lard.
Oh,
like,
man.
what separates? You have, you know, 20 girls that can move, but you got to bring 4 on the team. What's that separation?
Oh yeah, I mean, once you start coaching, then you start to feed this instinct that you have. It's been sometimes where I went against it, and when something didn't happen my way, I couldn't even be upset, even though I still was. But I knew it. I really knew it. And as soon as something like that happens, that's the first thing I can say. Like, I knew it.
Yeah.
And I remember one, like, really, like, I really knew it. But when I work with people, it's very important to have people who are just willing to do the work. It's been so many times, you know, I've worked at a high school in Minnesota, and in that time we didn't win the championship, but, you know, we had different wins. Like, we may have won with this girl who didn't think that she can run anchor leg. And I told her, okay, when you get to the 300-meter mark, she's going to come up on you. When you get to this last 80 meters, it's going to be you and her. It's going to come between whether or not you have it or not. And it's set up exactly that way. And when it came down to anchor leg, the girl comes up on her with 80 meters to go. And I'm watching this 80 meters. And we just talked about this 5 minutes before. And I'm going to see how you respond to that. And so to this moment, it gives me chill bumps, because when she crossed the line and we beat them by 100th of a second, you know, it came down to her, you know, being willing to fight. And so it doesn't matter if we didn't win a national championship or a state championship. But I remember those moments, you know, somebody responding to instruction, somebody responding to the will of the moment. And those are what's really important for me, of working with people who are willing to do the work.
Nice.
That's
pretty good answer.
Yeah.
That works.
That works.
That works.
What do you look for in your athletes?
The 1-2. I think that's what the 1-2. Who wants to be there? Who wants to do the work? The 1-2.
Got you.
Yeah.
Your most talented person isn't always your best, because they don't have the 1-2.
It's very true.
I love the 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what is coming up next for you? What do you have planned? What can we look forward to?
Yeah. I mean, so many things. I mean, a couple of things that I'm working on that's really big right now is, you know, I'm trying to, with everyday runners, well, it's twofold. One being everyday runners, they tend to run distance races. I'm a sprinter. In our field as sprinters, once you leave the sport, you really don't have a place to go in the economy of the sport. And so how can, like, sprinters continue their expertise and to expand upon their gift with in the everyday running community? And so I want to create street races. Races. I've been running street races since I was a little girl, running from light pole to light pole, beating boys at the cookout. Yeah, you know, taking men's money. So I want to create the opportunity for everyday runners to understand the benefits of speed training, to understand the health benefits of just running fast, and movement, biomechanics, how to move their bodies, how to understand how to move their bodies. And so one of the big things we're working on is creating these street races, give shorter distance racing opportunities in the running community, which will also help increase diversity and inclusion in the running community. Yes. So giving opportunities for them to understand how to race in 100 or the 200 or the 400, you know, do some 4x4s on the street, even the 800. The 800 is not even run in the everyday running.
It's a sprint. It's a sprint now.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the big things I'm working on is coming up with that framework to really bring this to the running community. We're going to start first with track girls. Track girls, we're working on a street race to give girls an opportunity to run at our U.S. Olympic trials. And so, yes, we're going to start a virtual speed series in May and give them a chance to train for the 200, the 400, and the 800. And the top 8 finishers of our virtual speed series will have an opportunity to run at the race walk course and at the trials.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, these street races seem amazing, because I will never do a marathon. Never do a half marathon. 5K. No.
Ever. 5K is pushing it. For me. Nope. That's the longest I have ever run in my life. Yes. Is a 5K.
Never.
Same.
So, but if you I want to go, you know, just race down the street. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
so now
that's cool.
when
I think that's really cool.
Your local 5K, now you're gonna see your local 60-meter dash.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll do that.
But you know what? It's so crazy, because when we got married in Ireland, I told him, he was like, man, oh my God, I loved it. It was
beautiful.
Amazing.
What part?
Cork.
Okay. I was in Derry.
Oh, okay. There was a meet there. That's how we got married.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just happened to work out.
Yes. And so he's like, I gotta get to the gym. And I was like, do 5 100-meter sprints and let me know how you feel. Done. And I was like, exactly. He's like, I don't really like to run. I was like, you don't have to run laps and laps.
Yeah, I'm not a runner. I'm not a lap
I said,
guy.
do 5 100s and you let me know if you feel anything.
Interval.
It's what I'm saying. I'm like, sprints is where it's at.
Mhm.
If you want to lose weight, sprints.
Yes.
If you want to
it's
gain
so many
muscle,
benefits.
sprints.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, the metabolic benefits. Oh my God, the strength benefits.
Yes.
So many great things about speed training that we can help from a health and fitness perspective overall. But yeah, that's one of my big things, is to change the landscape of the everyday running community by incorporating sprint distances.
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Right.
Because we will host one down here.
The Wildwood.
We will get it. People will drink right after. But
beer token. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bet?
You want to set up
on
tomorrow?
Me? Yeah, we'll want to bet on who can beat Priscilla. Nobody.
Oh, yes, we're going to do that. We're going to have track girls racing. Yes, you get a chance to race Priscilla. Yes.
I love it. I'm so for this. This is dope.
That could work.
This is definitely dope.
We'll do some 4x4s in the street.
Oh yes, whooping butt. Just whooping butt. I'm like looking back at you like, what you want?
Right.
That's very exciting. I can't wait to promote that. I can't wait to see how this works out. And you have our support. Anything we can do to help, we definitely will.
I appreciate it.
My last question. Do you have anything else, baby?
No.
Okay.
Just track girls. That's where it's at. We were at a wedding last week.
He's fully committed to track girls.
The mother of the bride, aged like fine wine. I'm not going to throw your number out there, because I'm just not going to do that to a lady and throw her age out there. But that's where it's at. They age very, very well.
I know. I feel you on that, because I just hit that number. That is hard to speak out.
I had to double check. I was like, wait, no way. Like that, and that that shouldn't. I shouldn't add up. So it's impressive. Track girls.
Like your husband. I like it.
He's a good one. I'll keep him.
Keep Ken.
I'm telling you so many times that because again, he wasn't in the track world.
No,
so now he knows about track meets. He went to Milrose games.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that, man. Talk about a marathon. All damn day. Sunrise to sunset.
Track meets are all
Yes.
Yes. That's something I would change if I was in the track and field. That's my one thing. Let's just do it. Let's get it done.
You would think that it should be a little bit shorter, like 3 to 4 hours, and then make it like a 3-day event. Like fun turn up,
don't go to no summer track meet. You got Bantam, sub Bantam, midget.
Nope. We can't be doing all of that. No. My child will be doing an indoor sport. Yes, you want to do something indoor? Basketball. Go ahead, baby. That's
our kids would be the worst basketball players ever.
We have no basketball
like Stanley
skills.
from The Office.
No skills. We have no basketball skills.
That bad.
So bad.
Mm-hmm.
So bad, girl. So bad.
Well, listen, y'all got football and track, so you're not doing bad.
That works.
We doing good. We on the come up.
Yeah.
My last question is, you've sort of tiptoed around it, but we ask all our guests, do you feel like you are in the prime of life, or do you feel like you're approaching it, or do you feel like it's behind you?
Oh, well, that's a good question, because at one point I thought it was behind me. I was like, well, what do you do? I made an Olympic team, and I've worked with some of the biggest brands and manage some amazing activations and accounts, and I'm like, well, what's next? So when I retired, you go through that emotional and just period of not thinking that the best times have passed you, especially when you turn 40. I'll put the number out there.
And you look amazing. It's so true.
Oh my gosh. And when you do that, you're like, man, I remember I was 25 and fine and living on life and, doing everything. But now I would say that I'm in a space that I feel like you have, it's like a roller coaster. It's just different hills. And so, I had a prime in my life and it was amazing and I was fine and I was 25 and I was pulling everybody, right? And then I'm like, that was a cool, and then I made the Olympic team. I'm on my next hill, I'm doing great. I'm doing great and I'm fine. And then I'm working on Madison Avenue at one of the top ad agencies in the world. I was at the top, riding that hill and doing that stuff. And so now, as I look to the future of track girls, as I look to the future of what I said I want to do with the landscape of the sport, I feel like I'm on that uptick of the hill that I'm on right now, getting to that next prime, but really creating a legacy is what I'm working on, creating generational wealth for my family, for my kids, and just building upon what my mom taught me about having access. And I just want that to be a part of my legacy right now that I'm building, and get into that prime of creating an access point through Track Girls for the girls to have opportunities for sport, for mentorship, for sisterhood, for my kids to have opportunities to come into life and not have to worry about, that starting nest egg for what they want to do. And for our community and for our sport, but for me too, have an impact in what we talked about as far as increasing the visibility of our sport. When I started, I said, I didn't feel like I had, at that time, impact on that. So I had to focus on what I did have control over. And that's what Track Girls was birthed out of, because I was like, well, I know Track Girls and I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to show our importance. I'm going to show our impact. And so now with this vision now, it's like, okay, now I'm going to help with the increase in of the visibility of our sport. And I'm going to change the landscape of our sport by bringing sprinting to the roads, and helping our health and fitness industry overall by showing the benefits of speed training and things like that. So to answer your question with all of that, I feel like I'm at another prime of getting to another prime of my life, as I've had a few.
I love it. I love that you're making it every part of your journey. There's a part of your prime.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, and I didn't know that at first. Like, it took time for me to understand that.
And I think that's what's the most beautiful about it, is that you learned it and now you accept it 100% and it's a part of your journey. I think a lot of people, something that I'm learning as well, is that, we spend so much time focused on the end, the goal, what we're trying to reach for, but so much is made in the journey. So much. We learn so much. And so I love that you have focused so much on bettering what you wanted to see, making that impact. And especially because you're leaving it for your children, and you're giving them this accessibility to be successful as well, with just another little leg up. Just one little leg up.
One little leg up. Leg up. And I mean, one thing I'll leave you with is something I've read. I'm reading a book now called Make the Leap. And he articulated it well. I mean, I thought the same thing, but when I read it, that's exactly how I approach it. And what I learned as a professional athlete as well. But it was like he focused on the execution rather than the outcome. And so I tell that to my athletes as well. It's not like just focusing on, I got to make this team. But you just focus on the everyday execution.
Every day.
It takes to make the team. Like, are you executing this movement to cover the 10 meters under a second so you can run sub 11? Or, it's just making sure you focus on the execution, because once you execute, then the outcome happens.
Yes.
And so I'll say that to everyone, like in your daily life, just focus on the execution of it, focus on the details, and the outcomes will come as it needs to.
I love it. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it, Mechelle.
I love this interview. I can't wait to post it and have everyone hear how amazing you are and what you're doing. If people want to follow your journey, how can they do that? What's the best way to do that?
Best way to do that at Track Girls with the Z.
Yes.
With Track Girls, and then my Instagram, that's for Track Girls, and then for myself is Mechelle Freeman, as spelled, I guess, on this interview. That
it will be. Yes, it will be a tag.
It'll be
it's just
here.
One of those things that everything that you say will be tagged.
There we go. Well, those are my two main points to the community. So please follow our journey and join our journey, especially when we start these races.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We about
running
to
out
do
in the
this.
streets.
I know. I'm so excited. It's
about to be running in these streets.
running these streets. I love it. Mechelle, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and your words and your knowledge and your wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much. We wish you nothing but success and love and light on this journey that you have ahead.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of In Our Prime with Priscilla and Ken.
Ken and Priscilla.
Ken and Priscilla.
Priscilla and Ken. Now you go first. Ladies first. You got the blue check.
It's been a really fun and enjoyable journey with you. I've loved doing the show with you.
Yeah, I'm
I
hungry.
hope that it gets
That dinner time yet?
For those of you listening, it is 6:30 p.m.
At the time we film this.
It's 5 o'clock that we start. So
Yes, after a long day.
It's been a long day. And so we obviously love doing this and we wish that it could be our full-time job, but we appreciate all of your support. So you keep us coming back. We love having these conversations.
Going to go home, have some dinner, maybe have a glass of some delicious Abon wine.
Yeah.
Call it a night.
And that's it. And then we go to bed and then we do this all over again tomorrow.
Mañana.
But we appreciate everyone's support. We do hope that you are loving the podcast and the YouTube series. Subscribe if you can. Sharing is a huge thing.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is a very, very huge tool that we appreciate all of you guys helping us out with. So until next time, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Ken.
And we will see you next time. Toodles, guys.
Toodles, guys. Toodles.
I dislike you so much.
Yay.